in order to achieve building systems where secure multi-user interaction can occur, does this require that each system adopts OCAP compliant architecture?
So I never want to claim that no other architectural basis is possible. That it's always possible that we discover yet another paradigm that's superior to OCAPS and not built on OCAPS. But OCAPS has been with us from '65 till today, and has remained superior to all of the paradigms that have gotten invented since then. Um,
Mark,
so
which part of the thesis talks about reasoning about people far away as just reasoning about objects? I forget how
right,
you phrased it.
yeah, the you can reason about all suspicion as if you are suspicious only of objects. Um, so that's a really key thing about that was not anticipated in '65 when the capabilities were invented. That was really a realization by Jed Donnelly in the late '70s, I think, realizing that the capability security notion transparently distributes over a network uh, with this property that the way I explain it now um, is that a if you're suspicious of another machine, but you're interacting with the other machine over a capability-based protocol, then the other machine might be misbehaving. It might be speaking the protocol badly, or it might be running the objects, the capability-based objects in the, let's say you're doing a language-based local capability system on that machine. It might be violating the capability rules at that location. So it might be misbehaving in all sorts of ways. But due to Jed Donnelly's insight, it became clear that if you had the right kind of cryptographic capability protocol, that that the total damage to me of a remote misbehaving machine is equivalent to the damage that could be done by a correctly behaving machine, correctly in the sense of speaking the protocol correctly, and correctly in the sense of running its own local object capability language or operating system correctly. Equivalent to a correctly functioning machine or platform running a malicious group of objects. That if I'm ignorant of what the actual object graph is that's running on the correct platform, that the dangers to me of that group of malicious objects is equivalent to the dangers to me of the machine that those objects are running on itself being malicious. And as a result, I can model my worries. I can do all of my reasoning about my hazards from suspicion of other things as if it's only object misbehavior that I'm worried about. Now, there's a whole bunch of qualifiers I need to put on that. The main one is that those statements are really specifically about integrity. It's not about confidentiality, it's not about availability, it's not about resource use. Those things need to be revisited and see how close we can get. But the strong statement is only a statement about integrity. And it's that insight from Jed Donnelly that really led to the um, you know the nature of the CapTP protocol family that we're currently building out on.
Yeah, that was kind of what's interesting to me, is that when you look at things through this message passing OCAP lens, you can talk about, objects being suspicious of each other inside the same JavaScript, runtime or across JavaScript runtimes or across Unix processes or across machines or across blockchains or whatever.
Yeah.
And what I like,
Yeah,
what I like
exactly.
about these properties, what I like so much about the properties too, is that you think of in terms of what damage can be caused to you. Well, the only damage that can be caused to you is somebody sends a message to one of your objects. So if you expose an object to some other object, then they can send a message to yours. And if your object is defensive, then they can't do anything bad with it except for these resource constraints and the other stuff that Mark mentioned.
Right, right. And so using that, I can explain this equivalence in a fairly direct manner, I think, which is the cryptographic capability protocol says that a misbehaving platform can still only exercise capabilities remote to itself, can only send messages to objects remote to itself that are capabilities that had been granted by a message pass to the machine, to that machine, which meant that somebody thought they were sending a message to some object on the machine. So the worst case risk to a misbehaving machine in terms of what messages it can send, in terms of who it can send messages to, is the union of all capabilities that have been sent to any of the alleged objects on the machine. And if you just have a misbehaving object graph running on a correct platform, then the worst case misbehaving object graph is it's just a big grand conspiracy where they all pool all the capabilities sent to any of the objects, which they then jointly misuse. So that I think that should be a fairly straightforward and intuitive explanation as to why the right protocol makes these two risks equivalent.